Welcome to the Fifth Down. I'm Jake Vanderbrook. We are now in week 8 of the high school football season here in Northeast Michigan. Our featured game of the week was at Hillman, where the Tigers look to take a step closer to hosting a district playoff game, but they have to get past an Onaway team who is in desperate need of wins to make it to the postseason. It was a beautiful night of football as the captains shake hands right before the coin toss. First possession for the Tigers. Quarterback Nash Steink is going to keep this ball to himself as he goes right, and he is off to the races. That would go as a 65-yard touchdown. Hillman strikes first. Next drive, Steink is going to go with a 3-step drop, airs it down the field and finds Sean Hennigan as he's going to get taken down at the 5-yard line. That would set up this play as Caleb Sanders is able to run it up the middle and punch it in for 6. 2-point conversion good. Tigers up 16-zip. Still in the first quarter, Caleb Sanders again, this time from 2 yards out. Hillman scored 32 points in the same quarter. Nothing was going right for the Cardinals in this one as Austin Nash can't handle the snap. The big man, Matthew Arman, is able to recover this football. The question is, will he go all the way for 6? And the answer is no. But Hillman puts on a show tonight as they're able to pick up their 7th win of the season, winning by a score of 46-8. After the game, Cody Allen was happy to see his team dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's something we really pride ourselves in. It's kind of been a tradition here at Hillman football for the last 14 years or so. So to see it come together the way it is right now, it feels good.
The Posen Vikings had a 4-3 record coming into this game, and they looked to keep their playoff hopes alive, but they had to get through the Wolverines of Gres-Sims. This game had no shortage of highlights, and our first one is from Posen as Tyler Hinka takes it from the own end of the field, finds a hole through the middle, and whoop, he's gone. That's going to put them up with a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But for every touchdown, Gres-Sims seemed to have an answer. Less than a minute to go in the first half as quarterback Isaiah Thomas keeps it himself and powers it in for a Wolverine touchdown. Moving to the second half, here's Thomas again, but this time he passes to the big man, Bryce Harmon, and just look at this strength. He goes right through the last defender like nothing and reaches over the goal line for 6. But Posen is sticking around, and it's getting towards crunch time. The senior quarterback, George Kroll, calm, cool, collective. He finds his man Chase Doobie in the end zone for the touchdown. Posen manages to win this shootout by a score of 70-68. Posen's Tyler Hinka ends up with 334 yards on the night. Hale gets a big road win as they defeated Atlanta by a score of 76-28. The Eagles improved to 4-4 on the season. Their next game is Friday as they travel to Mile to take on the Thunderbolts. Meanwhile, Atlanta will be back home next week as they take on the Hillman Tigers. All right, when we come back, we have some 11-man football highlights to show you. Don't go away. You're watching the Fifth Down on WBKB. But first, here's a look at the Hillman Marching Band. Welcome back now, switching gears to 11-man football. The Alpena Wildcats look to bounce back after getting clobbered last week, losing to Traverse City Central by a score of 43-7. One of the main issues last week for Alpena was that they just kept turning the ball over. Let's see if they have a better performance as they were going up against Petoskey. Picking this one up in the third quarter, Northman up 7, but Alpena gives it to Jordan Schultz, and there he goes. Woo! He takes it all the way to the end zone. Wildcats trailed 7-6 after. But on the ensuing kickoff, Jaron Kelly, he's going to scoop this one up. He's able to find a little bit of space, and he's going to return this all the way out to the 30-yard line. Petoskey trying to get something going offensively. Gabe Whitmore fakes the handoff, rolls out and finds Garrett Flynn near the midfield for the first down. Wildcats, though, steal one on the road as they defeated Petoskey by a score of 18-15. That's their first win over Petoskey since 2006. Their next game is October 25th as they host St. John's. Well, the Oscoda Owls are having a great season on both sides of the football, and the same goes to Breckenridge. The Huskies have only one loss, and that was back in week 1 to Beaverton. Since then, this is a high-flying offense that is very efficient in running the football. Can they keep that up against the Owls? First quarter now. Owls with a rough start as sophomore quarterback Luke Saunders rolls left, takes a shot deep down the field and finds his older brother Bailey Saunders for the touchdown. The Huskies are able to strike first. To the second quarter now. Grant Willman takes the snap and he's just going to run it up the middle and goodbye. No one is going to catch him into the end zone. For Willman, he goes another 6 points. Breckenridge up 14-zip, but Oscoda was able to get some positive reinforcement on defense as Saunders rolls to his right, doesn't have time to complete a pass, and he's going to get sacked by the senior Andy Dalt. But that play didn't slow the Huskies' momentum at all as Caleb Nagel bobbles the snap on the punt. He can't come up with the rock, and Spencer Ramirez is able to recover it in the end zone for 6 more. Oscoda gets wrecked by Breckenridge as they lose by a score of 35-0. Now to other 11-man scores. Rogers City is able to win their last home game of the season by a score of 24-8 over St. Ignace. The Hurons' last game of the season is Friday as they're on the road to take on Manton. Whittemore-Prescott drops another road game as they lose to Merrill by a score of 35-0. The Cardinals look to end their season on a high note next week as they host Pinconning on Friday. The Alcona Tigers were able to pick up the road win as they defeated Coleman 44-6. The Tiger offense was led by senior running backs Mason Clark and Dominic Hale. Clark rushed for 169 yards on 14 carries while scoring 3 touchdowns, and Hale rushed 10 times for 91 yards and a score. Alcona's next game is Friday as they're home against Roscommon. Tawas crushes Indian River by a score of 46-0. They finished their season at 4-4, and Johannesburg-Lewiston remains unbeaten as they defeated Frankfort 42-21. Sheldon Huff had himself a night as he rushed for 200 yards with a pair of touchdowns. The Cardinals' next game is Friday as they're at Indian River. And now it's time to thank our Fifth Down sponsors.
The Fifth Down coverage is brought to you by Alpena Agency and Auto Owners Insurance. Auto, home, life, health, and business, we make insurance easy. The Aplex, Northeast Michigan's premier events complex. Visit aplex.org to find out more. And Mid-Michigan Health Rehabilitation Services, helping you return to your highest level of function or performance.